I'm going to show you my tools. So I call them the island tools. You know, if you would bring me on an island, I would only use these 5 plugins to make every mix and master. And here we go. So the first plugin I would recommend is FabFilter Pro Q3. It's an EQ with a lot of functions. Yeah, you can impact the mid-side signal. You can decide, okay, do I want to use this EQ in the mid signal? Do I want to use this EQ on the side signal only? Then you have pretty cool features like, okay, I want to make it dynamic. You know, you can say, okay, what is the threshold of this EQ to boost the frequency? So you can say, okay, I want to boost the frequency or I want to cut a frequency, and you can make it dynamic. Let's say when a threshold is passed, then the EQ starts working, and it's the same for boosting and cutting. And this is quite interesting. For example, if you want to do some stereo widening, you can put it on the stereo placement and then make it dynamic and say only when a special threshold is reached, you can boost the side signal. This is quite fun. You can also use it for stereo widening. So you see already right here by clicking it, it has some cool effects. You of course have the chance to look on the scale, how much is your cut and boost, in which dB range you're working, 12 dB, 30 dB. And yeah, what I really like is, of course, you can do any kind of impact. You can also decide about the slope right here. If you want to boost highs without boosting any harsh frequencies, you can make the slope a bit sharper and just decide, okay, I want to boost the 10K frequency. You can do gentle cuts, you know, high cuts or low cuts on that EQ. When you look on the 3dB feature right here, it looks very, very crazy, but you know, this is a soft cut in the highs and the lows. You know, most of the people, when they look on this EQ, it's important to look, okay, on which range are you working. And as well, you know, you can use bell features, you can use shelvings. You see, you have a lot of functions in here you can use. What is also interesting right here is a tilt EQ. You can decide, okay, when my song has too much bass, then I can tilt the frequencies, of course, and you can pull it down and whatever you want to do. This is interesting for mastering. Okay, let's go on the second one. It's the Pro C2. You see, it's also a FabFilter plugin right here. It is really, really cool because, you know, you have the oversampling feature, you have a look ahead, and it's a really standardized compressor. Yeah, standard threshold, ratio, fast attack, release. So it's very, very easy to use. And you also have the standard gain button, and you can reduce the impact of that stuff or increase the gain when you compress harder. And the drive feature is nice because you can then decide, okay, do I want to have uncompressed signal and compressed signal, and you can do some crazy effects right here. You can use sidechain compression right here. You can decide on which frequency of the sidechain this compressor should start to react. What's really, really cool is when you do funk, disco, dance music, and you want to sidechain with the kick drum the whole track, you can decide which part of the kick drum should be responsible for triggering the compressor. So the next one is number 3. This is also a FabFilter plugin. It's the limiter. It's the Pro L2, and this one is pretty cool. You have a lot of features. What I usually like to do is switching off the true peak limiting and work with the output signal, you know, because then it sounds a bit more open. You have different features like oversampling, where you can say, okay, how clean should this limiter sound? And right here in the advanced features, of course, you can decide about the attack. You know, when should the limiter start working and how long should the limiter work? You know, when you reduce the attack, make it very, very slow, then you have a higher chance to get more transients through it. And you can also work with the different modes in here, which one works perfect for the music. So number 4. So most people know it for the resonating frequencies. Let's say I have a guitar or a vocal and there's some resonating frequency. This tool will detect the resonating frequency and make a cut. But this tool can do much more. It can also make space for the vocal, which I showed in another video, where you can say I put it on mid-side mode and only on the mid signal. And what you do right here, then you put SUS on an instrument track or a track of a competing instrument and use it with a sidechain function so that the vocal of another track is triggering the SUS tool on the competing instrument. Let's say the vocal is singing, and then SUS will start deducting the vocal frequencies in the melody stuff. And this makes it very natural when you put it on the mid signal and the vocal gets a lot of space. And number 5, it's not only one plugin, it's more or less a mastering suite. It is Ozone 10. Right here I'm talking about the advanced tool, because the good part about the advanced tool is that you can use every single effect. You can use every effect as a single plugin in your chain. And this is pretty cool right here. You know, you have the maximizer, which is the limiter right here, also with different modes with the IIC4, 3 and other stuff. You have equalization, and you also have dynamic EQ comparable to the FET filter. And there is plenty of other stuff in here as well. You can use images to increase the stereo image of your track. You can use match EQ, where you analyze another track and match the track 1 EQ with your track and adapt it. It is quite interesting for some fancy work. Yeah, and this tool you can use for mastering. Yeah, guys, these are my 5 plugins I would use. I can really recommend them if you want to be more in detail with mixing and mastering and want to go a next step. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked the video and see you soon.